building walls. I'm going to start with perhaps something that is pretty well known to bring out the concept of the purpose of a wall, and then we see how we tie that into a family. And most people on here probably have heard about the fall of Babylon. Every ancient writer who makes mention of Babylon, apart from the Bible writers, references Babylon as an awesome city, magnificent. They talk about the great ziggurat, Etemenanke, which means the foundation of heaven and earth. That's what that ziggurat was. And for those who know more about Bible, you'll realize that this is tying back to the Tower of Babel when they built the tower to try to reach to heaven. And I know you're wondering, what does that have to do with it? So I want you to listen keenly. There were immense walls. There was the Ishtar Gate, the hanging gardens of Babylon. And a great historian, Herodotus, in commenting about the size of the city, he said the city stands on a broad plain and is an exact square, 120 stadia in length each way. While such is its size, in magnificence, there is no other city that approaches to it. It is surrounded in the first place by a broad and deep moat full of water, behind which rises a wall 50 cubits in width, which 50 cubits is about 24 meters. And you know, when you see people run 100, just to get a concept of it, when Usain Bolt or Elaine Thompson or Shelley and Fraser Price run 100 meters, the width of the wall was a quarter of the distance of that 100 meters. 24 meters, almost a quarter. And then the wall was 100 meters in height. Now, I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine a wall so tall. The city was impregnable, meaning that it was impossible for anybody to scale those walls to get into the city, to attack the city. So Babylon was mighty and powerful. But we know that Babylon fell. The Persians came and they found a way to get into Babylon. And what they did was, you know, Babylon, here's something, and I'm giving you all of this and you're going to see the connection. So I'm not dealing with Bible here now, but you're going to see the connection. Babylon was built upon the river Euphrates. So if anybody besieged the city from the outside, they would have no problem. The water ran right through the city, under the walls of the city. So they would always get their water supply. They had their hanging gardens in there where they planted things, so they could feed the city for years and years and years and never have to come out of the walls. That was how mighty Babylon was. They could stay right in there. So if you want to stay outside there besieging the city, your people are probably going to die off before the people in Babylon. So it was impregnable. The Persians, who are the ones who overthrew Babylon, what they did, they were so determined to get into Babylon, they saw that the river ran under the city, so they decided that they were going to dam up the river. So they dammed the river way up in the mountain, and so the level of the water fell way down below the level of the walls, and they started walking in under the walls. But even in there, on the two sides of the river, there were the wall was there anyway, and great steel gates. So they couldn't get in through those gates. But it so happened that night, the city was having a great religious feast. If those of you who read the Bible, that was the night when Belshazzar made a feast in Daniel chapter 5, I think it is. Belshazzar made a feast, and they were having a great feast inside. Imagine, there are armies outside besieging the city, and you just know that your city is so powerful and impregnable that you're going to have a celebration. You're having a feast inside there. Those of you who know the story of the handwriting on the wall, you know what that said. But that night, somebody had left one of the gates open. And when the Persian armies came under the walls, they were almost frustrated. They couldn't get in because the gates were closed until they found one that was left open, and they went into Babylon. So they came in through the wall into the city, and they overthrew Babylon. Now, I want you to understand something else about what is a nation, what comprises the people in a city. How did nations come about? Nations really developed when families grew and multiplied. So one family can go off somewhere and live, husband and wife and maybe children, and they have house, they have a big piece of land that they're occupying, and they have children, and the children grow up, and the children multiply, maybe intermarry, bring in wives or so on, and intermarry, and the family gets bigger and bigger, and they make little other houses on the land. They make other houses around until eventually they have a city. And everybody is related. I know some of us know you go some places, some towns right now, and everybody is related to everybody else. So that's how nations grew. So in the early days, because of this kind of setting, you had wars between families, which were really family feuds. So the nations warring against each other were just technically families fighting against each other. But in this setting, as the families grew, they would begin to build walls around their dwelling places because they wanted to have protection from invading families. And so it was important that every family who wanted to be protected would build walls. And therefore, what we are doing now is we are looking today. We don't see families building walls anymore. We don't see people, apart from the walls of your house. You build a house and you live inside there, but that's it. But if your child gets married, he moves out and he goes to another house somewhere else, miles away or in the next city or so. So we don't have that kind of family setting anymore. But you know, today, while we don't have that setting anymore, it's just as important for families to build walls. Now, you can build walls in two ways. You can build a wall against family members, and we see that happening. We see walls developing within families, as some people having a rift against others and so on. So families are divided by walls that they build. But it's important, if you want to have a good families, that we build walls enclosing your family and keeping out others to protect against outsiders invading the family. One of the things that we see when the Bible says in Psalm 127 verses 3-5, it says, children are a heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Then it says, as arrows in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of the youth. Happy is the man that has his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemies in the gate. It's talking about that protection that having a big family gives to a family. The protection of having many children makes your family stronger, makes your family better protected. So when you have your quiver full of children, you have better protection. They will speak with the enemies in the gate. So the fruit of the womb is the reward that God gives to his people. So today, as I said, family dynamics have changed. We no longer build physical walls, but it has become, I think, even more necessary for us to build family walls to prevent invaders from destroying our families. Invaders are destroying families today, and that's why we have this Family Life program. That's one of the reasons, because we know that families are being destroyed. The unfortunate thing is that you can't just go get some bricks or stones and build walls to protect your families anymore. The invasion is of a different nature. And so we're talking about building walls to protect our families in today's society. This is a big failing in many families today. We don't build walls. We don't protect our families. We don't protect each other. As a matter of fact, it is it is considered more acceptable to send our family out. We send our children out for them to get attacked and invaded by the enemy. We expose them. You know what a lot of people say? They need to learn to survive in life. Send them out early. They're smart and so on. And so many children are growing up now hardly knowing their parents. There are no walls. There's no protection for them. We send them away from us. So I am talking tonight to us about building walls to protect your families. All families have challenges. They have strengths and areas in which they can grow. Family, now when I say family, you can be a family of 1 or 2 or 10 or 50 or 100. So a family can be varying sizes. But what we're talking about now, it is not about who is in your family that we need to consider. If you have a family, whoever is in your family, you should consider family important. It is how the family functions that makes this family strong or weak. It's not because you have strong people, physically strong people in your family, why your family is strong. It's not even because you have many people in your family, why the family can be strong. Because you can have a lot of people and they're fighting against each other. I know families like that. I know some families where brother not talking to brother or to sister, and father, children not talking to parent, all kinds of different things within one family. So you might have many people in the family, but the family is weak. And then you can have 2 or 3 people in a family, and it's a very strong family. It depends on how the family functions. So strong families appear in many different ways. Families can include single parents, 2-parent families, grandparents raising children, foster parents, anything that's a family setting. But you've got to decide how much importance you're putting on your family. For better or for worse, family relationships play a central role in shaping an individual's well-being across the course of their life. The family you grew up in, the context of your family shapes who you are. These relationships can be a source of comfort, guidance, and strength to draw from in times of stress. Developing and nurturing your family can also give you the lift to endure life's challenges and meet your goals with confidence and courage. When a family member has to launch out into the world and they know that they have backative at home, when they know that I can call mommy or I can call daddy, or I can call my brother or my sister, or I can run back home if I need to, they feel strong, they feel supported, they feel secure. So it's very important that we make our family members, our brothers, our sisters, our children, our parents, make them feel confident that they have your love. Now, researchers from the University of Nebraska conducted a study on the characteristics of strong families. And they came out with 6 major qualities that strong families share. I want you to listen to these. All of these contribute to family happiness and strength. So I want you to listen, take them seriously, pay attention, and it is for, remember, this whole thing is for us to grow and develop our families. So the first one is commitment. The first characteristic of strong families is that they have commitment. They make their relationships a priority. This is important in co-parenting families especially. Your children need to be reassured that it is okay, that they are safe, that they are loved, and it's okay for them to love. You see, sometimes even in a family where you have mixed parenting, where one parent had a child before and it's not the other one's child, you have to make a little extra effort to make this child love the other parent who is not blood parent, and the other parent has to do enough to make the child love him or her too. So there is a commitment. Commitment is the first thing, to make the relationship a priority. The second one is appreciation. And this goes in, this has come up so many times in our meetings. Appreciation. You know, I think that this generation that's growing up, to a large extent, has not learned to show appreciation. There are some simple things. You're driving along the road and you see somebody standing by the roadside wanting to cross. And so you put on your hazard lights and you stop and let the person across. And they just walk across and hold their head straight. Not even thank you. Not even to nod and smile at you for being kind to them. They feel privileged, like, oh, maybe I did him a favor to let him stop, to let me cross. Okay? We have to teach people to be appreciative. And in a family, especially, we have to be appreciative. Don't take each other for granted. Let the other family members know daily that they are appreciated. So we teach each other to use appreciative language and gestures. Say thank you, smile, whatever it is that will let somebody know that you appreciate what they do. Do that. And children learn from examples of the adults. I think one of the problems with this generation is that their parents were not ready for parenting, and so maybe some of them are miserable, and they're not even grateful. They think society is treating them badly, and so they don't learn how to be appreciative, and so their children are not appreciative. The third one is communication. Communication, again, is something that comes up in many of our meetings because it applies in all kinds of relationships in life. Communication. Families talk to each other. They talk about big issues as well as little issues. Keep your communication positive. Learn to listen. Listen to all opinions. You know, there are some parents who like to shut down the children because they think, you don't know what you're saying. I'm the adult here, and listen. Listen to what the person has to say, and don't just listen to hear, but listen to understand. And don't forget to lighten the mood, even when the situation is serious. Lighten the mood, sometimes with laughter, when tensions are running high, when things are getting tense. Lighten it up a little bit. The fourth characteristic of a strong family is that they spend time together. If you go along with the way society is today, this doesn't happen very much at all. So you've got to be deliberate. And so these families have deliberately planned family time together. Mealtime is a good place to start, having a meal together. I mean, nowadays people hardly even use their dining tables anymore. You know, they have a dining table and all it is a piece of furniture decorating the house. Because they grab their plate of food and they're busy doing something, sitting at the computer, eating and doing your work, or take it out to the workshop or whatever, or on the go. Sometimes the meal is just get it at a fast food place, so you don't even cook together. But mealtime is a good place to start to spend time together. Make it a deliberate action that you plan. We're going to have even one meal for the day or 3 meals for the week. Start somewhere together. We make it happen that we are actually doing that. Include family members in the menu planning. So whoever is doing the cooking, don't just say, okay, I'm going to cook this, I'm going to cook that. Sometimes you talk to other family members. What would you like to have today? What do you think we could do? What would go well with this? Include them in the menu planning and even the shopping and the food preparation. A family member come into the kitchen, help, okay, you cut up the seasoning for me, or you wash those for me, and so on. And so you're spending quality time together. That's all a part of it. You don't have to plan great meetings to spend time together. You can make your daily activities about spending time together. Then there is crisis and stress. Strong families are able to cope with difficulties and crises. They are resilient. They know how to handle these things. They don't get frustrated and frantic. The strong ones recognize how the weak feel. You recognize the feelings of each other when things are stressful, and encourage family members to work together and share feelings when the going gets tough. And then number 6, the 6th characteristic of a strong family is their spiritual wellness. They believe in a greater power. You know, this is one of the failings again of our modern society. A lot of people are being taught nowadays not to believe in God, not to believe there's a greater power. We are all on our own. Well, if you're all on your own, things are going to get messy because you don't know what tomorrow holds. But strong families have spiritual wellness, believing in a greater power. So they model acceptance and tolerance. They share their views about the beliefs that they have and where they're important. So for some, it's family worship, where you get to share quality spiritual time together. You have Bible study together, you pray together, you sing together, and you share your views about God, about that superior being, in that greater power, you know? So those are the 6 characteristics of strong families. And all these strengths identified are connected. They are not mutually exclusive. It is important to look at your current strengths and identify a plan to strengthen the areas of weakness. So you might be okay with some of them, but you might see 1 or 2 missing. It's important to get those strengthened. You may want to consider taking an inventory. Get together with your family and sit down together and say, where are we lacking? Which of these? And I can make the 6 things available. But where are we lacking in this? You do an inventory with your family, and that will help you to make a roadmap for change. And it's important that we determine to make those changes. Creating and maintaining strong, healthy family relationship takes time. If it's not strong right here now, if you haven't built your walls yet, you've got to start building the wall. Building the wall around your family to protect your family, because you'd better believe that there are invading nations trying to destroy your family. It's happening. It's happening in the schools. It's happening in the workplace. Sometimes it's happening right in the church. It's happening in your neighborhood. There's always invasion trying to destroy your family. And as I said before, that's what prompted us to come up with these meetings, because we don't want it to happen. And it's not God's will. So it takes time. If you're nowhere, if the wall is just way down at the bottom, it takes time. It takes effort and it takes patience. You're not going to jump up tomorrow morning and say, okay, I'm going to build a wall. And you build a wall in a day or a week. It takes time, and it takes persistence, and it takes consistency. With the daily pressures of work, of children, of chores, it can be easy to neglect family relationships and to take our loved ones for granted. We do that. Many of us. I'm guilty sometimes. We take our loved ones for granted because they're here. Oh, this is my family. So they understand. They understand that I have to work. They understand that I have these things to do. They understand that I can't handle that right now because my work demands my time. Because I have to go here or I have to go there. We have to be more decisive in our actions if we're going to build those walls. So here are some suggestions I have to help strengthen your family relationships and to ensure there's a natural growth and bonding within your family. And you will hear some overlap with those characteristics naturally, because those are characteristics of a strong family. So you're going to hear me referring some things that may overlap a little bit. So number 1 is work on good communication skills. That can't be emphasized enough. You know, we talk with each other, but many times we don't communicate. I've seen it happen so often that people say something. I've seen 2 people talking and one person says something, and I understand what the person is saying, but the person who is listening understands something else. And based on his response or her response, I can tell that he or she didn't understand. And so they start having a conflict because communication did not take place effectively. It's important for us to learn to communicate. And one of the most important things in communication is listening. Somebody said, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. which means you listen 2 times as much as you speak. But some of us, we just want to talk and talk and talk and to hear ourselves and think we are communicating. You're not communicating. You've got to listen. So focus on listening and understanding what your family member is trying to say. Wait, listen again if you don't quite understand. Even if you think you understand, listen. Ask them to repeat just to make sure you understand. Sometimes you have to repeat what you think they said to see if that's what they meant. When you have misunderstandings coming up between the two of you, you recognize there is some communication problem. And so you say, okay, is this what you're trying to say? And you state it. And if they say yes, you say, okay, good. Based on that, here's my response. But you might find that many times they say, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. And so you say, okay, can you tell it to me again? Let me see. And you just talk. But you've got to listen first. I see discussions going on all the time. And as soon as you start one sentence, somebody jumps in thinking that they know what you're going to say, and they start answering. You can't have that. It doesn't work anywhere at all, but certainly not in a family. What you're doing is building walls inside the family and breaking down the relationship when you need to move that wall and put it outside of the family and build a relationship. So we've got to carve out time to work on communication skills by putting away phones and other devices. Start at the dinner table again. When you're having your meal together, no phones at the dining table. No devices at the dining table. All you've got is your knife and your fork and your food and each other. And so you talk. Nothing to distract you. In fact, put the phones far away where you won't want to hear them ringing, because this is about your family. And that's the most important social unit on earth for any of us. We've got to recognize that and accept it. The most important social unit on earth for us is our family, our immediate family. And therefore, nothing else, no other relationship, no other communication should supersede that. Next one is to establish certain traditions, values, and goals together. One of them is having worship together. It might be having pizza night, if pizza is your thing, or having Chinese food evening, if that's your thing, or having a day in the country, or a day at the beach, whatever it is. You establish some kind of traditions and values and goals together, and you all have those now as your little stable traditions that you do. In years to come, when the children become adults and parents grow old, you can all reminisce. Go back to years ago remember when we went to so and so and we did so and so. It makes for nice memories. What you're really doing is you're making memories together, and that creates a bond. If you already have some family traditions, do your best to continue them. Don't let them die. Don't let life take these away from you. Sit down, discuss, and reinforce the values. And you might want to invent some new traditions and plan how you will accomplish them together. Getting a board game, Monopoly, Domino, Ludo, whatever it is, Uno, Bible characters, whatever it is, get some little games together, not just the game on your phone that you play by yourself. Something that the family can do, jigsaw puzzles, whatever, do some things together. Try different foods. Choose a night, as I said, for games and have some social time. The next one is to connect with some distant family members. Sometimes we grow our families isolated. Your children have uncles and aunts living in Miami, living in Connecticut, living in Australia, living in different parts, and we don't even contact them. But we should connect our families with even distant family members. You're building the family strength that way. You're building walls around your family when you do that, right? So even email, phone calls, video calls, staying in touch with these people who are a part of your family helps you feel more connected to them, and therefore you're helping to build a larger family wall. You have greater strength there when these people are there. They connect you sometimes when you don't even connect to them. Stay active. That's the next one. Stay active. That needs to be emphasized in our society today for many people. It's amazing how jobs these days, a large percentage of the jobs these days are jobs of inactivity. You sit at a desk, you're on a computer, you're clicking here and clicking there, or typing here and typing there. Your legs don't move all day until when it's time to go home, and it just goes to the car and then you drive home. Hardly any physical activity. We pay somebody to come in and do the physical activity around the home, to be the gardener, to be the house cleaner, and so on. So we don't do that. Now, it's important that we keep our bodies active. Physical activity helps to reduce stress. It's not just about you need to be active. It's about you're helping to reduce stress, and that will relieve the pressure on a family. So you can have work things together, raking the yard, mowing the lawn, cutting the hedging, sweeping the house or mopping the house, helping to plant the flowers that the mother likes to see, or the edible stuff, whatever it is. You can have little family exercise time together too. As a family, you all plan exercise night or exercise nights, and you exercise together. Different persons take charge each time. Okay, so daddy's in charge of exercise tonight, and so he gives you the exercise and so on. Then mommy tomorrow night, and somebody else, the son or the daughter or whoever. You can have competitions in the family. Who can do the most push-ups or jumping jacks, or who can mow the lawn the best, or who does the best job of sweeping, or anything. You find different things to make it interesting. So these activities can help to create bonding. And remember, laugh together. Find things that will make you laugh. Sometimes we share jokes with people outside more than we share them with people inside our family. We build bonds with outsiders while we build walls within our families. That's what the modern society is doing to a lot of our families. You've got to build your bonds in your family. So laugh together. Find things that are amusing and hilarious with each other. Maybe watch a funny movie if movie is your thing, or read a book. Tell each other jokes. And some of us older ones remember some jokes from our younger days we can share with the younger ones today. But we've got to be decisive about it. So finally, I want to emphasize spending time together. Strong families spend quality time in large quantities with each other. Some people may say, well, we don't spend much time together, but when we get together, we spend quality time together. But the studies that have been done indicate that both quality and quantity are necessary for good relationships. A lot of time together filled with bickering and arguing won't make for a strong family. But small amounts of time, even with high quality activity, also does not make for a strong family. Nurturing family relationships takes a lot of good times. And how to make it happen, I can't tell anybody. You know your settings, but it's imperative that you do if you want to build strong family walls. Family time spent together helps to eliminate isolation, loneliness, and alienation. Some families that spend time apart, they become isolated from each other. They become alienated. You don't even know what to say to your family member when you meet them. Oh, hi, how you doing? How are things? And the argument done because you dry up, nothing else to say. You don't have anything in common. It helps the family to develop an identity, a bonding, a group unity, and a sense of your place as a family in history. It helps to avoid the fizzling out and dying out of marriage relationships when you spend quality and quantity time together. It helps enhance the communication process. If you're spending time together, you've got to communicate. And it allows for opportunity to build on other family strengths. So if you're spending a lot of time together, what exactly are you supposed to do while you're spending that time together? And the answer is really almost anything. You can share meal times, you can share house chores, you can share yard chores, you can have picnics, you can go camping, you can have outdoor sports. Nowadays we used to play tug of war and dog and bone and Chevy chase and those things, and there was dandy shandy, and there was skipping and so on. There was baseball, all those things. I don't see all those things. Young people don't seem to play those things anymore. But you can play outdoor sports. You can go walking or hiking, just walking or hiking together. You can have indoor recreation, as I said, like jigsaw puzzles, table games, or table tennis, or watching a video. You can have religious services. Yes, even in your home, you can have religious services. You can have scouting. You can have 4-H activities. And even in school activities, you can share that together. When some go to school and some don't, you can share those activities. And then there are the special events like holidays, birthdays, and your planned family reunions. These are things you can do together and should do together. Don't just say to your family member, happy birthday. Have a little birthday get together for every family member. It's not so much about the birthday that's important. It's about the bonding time with your family. So you grab every opportunity you can to bond, to make the family members feel appreciated. Every one of us on this platform tonight belongs to a family, no matter how large or how small. So I'd like you to do something. I'd like you to think about this seriously, and I'd like you to do this. When you leave here, I would like you to think carefully about some of the things that you heard here tonight and what you're going to do to make your family stronger. What you're going to do to build your family walls. Let's build walls. We're building walls to build and protect and make our families stronger. That, I believe, is the will of God for all of us. Let's make it a reality.